There's a series that I tend to look at that always makes me want to watch it, simply because it has tits and ass. You probably won't believe me when I tell you which series, but it's a series that's known for gender-bending historical and mythological figures and all that pizzazz. And it's a series that's near and dear to my heart. And my shaft. I'm talking about the Fate series. And also why I think it's shit. 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 Shit. Okay. Chill out. I'm just kidding, okay? Well, kinda. I suppose it's best for me to support my claim, and I have my reasons. Don't get me wrong, I love watching it though. But it has a lot of problems. But if I have to sit through some of this shit any longer without making my thoughts clear, I think I might just have to nobu my brains out. Okay, so let's talk about Fate. When it comes down to Fate, I've had a bit of a bumpy ride. Fate does a lot of things right in my book that I really enjoy. One such enjoyment that I indulge in is the many times grand personalities of the servants. It's pretty much why Nero is my favorite servant. Well, okay, at least my favorite Saber. But I also have a pretty big handful of problems with the series, including the characters' personalities. Typically, in typical Fate fashion, the main characters are either extremely generic, or just plain outright stupid to the point that I want to nobu the next thing I can get my hands on. Shiro is a walking meme for his stupidity, but aside from that, he's nothing more than a surrogate for the audience with no real defining qualities other than he's a really nice guy. Except for when he's in an alternate universe in a spin-off that'd send most people to jail. Sieg is also similarly a nice guy, despite being an artificial human, another surrogate so the audience can feel like they just shagged with the sweet delicious Jean. Hakuno, both female and male, are just literally self-inserts, and the anime version has the male being called a deadface, with no reason for why he progresses the way he does, when he's literally birthed from hatred. The female Hakuno in the anime is also a stupid bitch, who doesn't realize this, despite being a part of him in some way, and calls him out for being the way he is when he's literally born out of the pure raw emotions of hatred and anger. If it wasn't for the female Hakuno being relatively attractive, she'd be equally as dead to me as she is in Last Encore. And Kiritsugu is... well, Kiritsugu is a badass. There's at least gotta be one main character that I don't give two shits about criticizing. I mean, sure, he's got his problems, but hey, love the guy. And the story usually just spoon-feeds powers to these guys. With Shiro, he at least had to kind of work a little to get his shit, but gets a free pass to quickly power up by simply watching Archer, for reasons. Hakuno just happens to have special powers because he's a deadface, so no expectations of tension when they could just make up some new bullshit power for him based around the fact that he's a fucking amalgamation of red-hot fifis.
Ah! For fuck's sake, I've fucking had enough! God fucking damn it!
Sieg just gets to somehow turn into a servant for having a servant's heart, and no real explanation for why a servant can somehow leave behind a fucking body part to turn someone else into him, at least if only physically. And that's just one aspect already taking up this much amount of my time, though I always have time for Kiritsugu. Just let this remind you of the fact that Zero is the one Fate that I enjoy the majority of. If you think other Fates are better, well, you'd be fucking wrong. But regardless of that, that's just one aspect. There's still more things that cast mad enhancement over my sanity. One such problem I have being the usage of legends and mythologies of the many heroic spirits that they bring into the foray. Typically from what people tell me, and from what I see, the powers of a servant rely on such legends. Not only is this more stupid than Sakura's inability to call Shiro anything other than senpai, but it makes no sense considering how tons of legends can be just as crazy, and some legends just don't make fucking sense when presented in the show. Also, some servants are inherently weaker than others simply because their legend isn't well known and they're outside of their native land. But yet somehow they're still incredibly powerful outside of those conditions, and somehow act like those conditions aren't even needed to make themselves useful. Why is Saber blowing away giant fucking monsters with Excalibur when she's in fucking Japan of all places? Last I checked, Japan is known for legends of bestiality and legends of a banquet being made by a fucking goddess defecating all over a dinner table. Being a borderline city to nation buster should be the last thing that Saber is capable of in the land of Ugu fuck me in my ass Onisama. It's bad enough that the ability system for servants is bad, but then we also have the massive amount of shit from fans of the series that gets spewed out on a daily basis on the internets for discussion. Usually people talking about versus battles between servants and other series characters, which is fucking stupid, or they're arguing over which waifu is best waifu. Hey, fuck you. Nero has the best singing voice.
聞け世のログレスコラボの歌
ロマの光我が名はネロ嬉しいぞヨガログレスの世界で
Hey, stop! Why? I just don't get it. I always catch you fuckers watching this sick shit. This is sickening.
But then we also have the massive amounts of money being wasted on Fate Grand Order. I'm not gonna spend another fucking dime on that game unless it takes a note from Dokkan Battle and makes the attack animations more cinematic. And along with FGO, we've got an even bigger increase in waifu wars as you can now legit collect waifus.
Stop, please!
No!
If I have to see another fucking post about best waifu with a plethora of autistic screeches about which Saber is best Saber, or why Gilgamesh is a universe buster, despite that sounding fucking stupid, I might just have to enema Elish what's left of my semen in an attempt to kill myself masturbating to Irisfield's tits. But again, these are only a handful of problems. While I do have these issues, they don't stop me from enjoying most of what I see from the Fate series. I love Nero like Beerus and Whis love instant ramen. And I don't think I need another reason. I just love Nero. And Saber, and John, and Ultra Saber, and Archer.
2 hours later.
Oh, and Kiritsugu. Characters. That's the only reason I watch Fate. Fuck the story.
走れそれを風のように好きに払おうパロルパロル